let's start with the history. What's going on in the world when this book is written? You've kind of touched on it,
Okay.
but this is big.
Yeah. The book was written at a very interesting time. This is the time of the divided kingdom. If we remember, Israel is now divided between Israel and Judah.
Right. And just your libertarian-style husband wants to point out that happened over a tax issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
little side
Rehoboam
note.
decided
Got
to
it.
nail him with taxes, and they said, we're out of here.
We're out of here. Yeah, it sounds, there's
There you
some
go.
correlations there between us and them. Now, Israel had been conquered by the Assyrians at that
Ouch.
point,
Ouch.
the nation to the north, and many of the Israelites at this point are in captivity. So they've been taken from their homeland already.
Even worse than that. I think the Assyrians had the habit of removing you to another part of the world and then replacing you with foreigners,
Yeah.
which is where the Samaritans end up coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
There
true.
you go. All right.
Yeah, we talked about that
That
when we
is
talked about
Shawn's
the parable.
historical nugget, and now back to Jane.
Okay. So Jeremiah is a prophet in Judah. He is located in Jerusalem, and he's called to be a prophet in the year 627 BC. And Jeremiah prophesies and he preaches for 40 years. And these are 40 tumultuous years. These are not years of peace.
This is not when you want to be a prophet.
It's a difficult time, and
Yeah.
it's a really difficult calling on him to do this. This time period I think of as a lot of lasts. We see a lot of last things happening because it's a transitionary time. So in 640 BC, Josiah began his reign as king of Judah. Now, of course, remember, Shawn, he was the boy king. He became king when he was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we love to tell our kids that story
Yep,
because it's
king.
A boy that they can kind of
I'm
relate
kind of
to.
the boy
It's
king
really
in our
cool.
house, though. I am the boy king.
You're the only male in our house. That is true.
So the
Yeah.
8-year-old King Josiah.
Mm-hmm. So his father, Manasseh, he was not a good king. He allowed, in fact, he instituted idolatry. But then his son Josiah comes along and he's nothing like his father. And so Josiah sets out to kind of course correct. He wants to right the wrongs of his father. So he goes about, he tears down the altars to Baal. He reverses a lot of the practices of the time. Now, his father had abandoned the book of the law, but providentially, a scroll is found during Josiah's time. Remember that. And so Josiah now hears the words from the scroll. And this scroll is essentially the books of Exodus and Deuteronomy as we know them today. Mm-hmm. And so at first, what happens is he as a person is changed by this. The scriptures just transform him personally, and then it sparks a reformation in his kingdom. And so Josiah is a good king, but as I said, it's a period of lasts. He is the last good king of Judah.
That's an interesting lesson that you have there. I know we have to take a break in a second before we keep going, but personal reformation among God's people, revival doesn't happen because you crack down on others.
No.
Revival starts with you.
Absolutely.
And so you open your Bible, you let God transform you, and then the influence spills over onto those around you who become curious. What happened to you? Mm-hmm. What is going on in your life? So I found that interesting. Josiah starts by being transformed by God himself through the scriptures, and then it sparks reformation across God's people.